Welcome to Vivacious D TV, where the goal is to unlock your creative dragon. According to a study in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, living abroad and experiencing another culture can enhance your creativity. Researchers have found out that the open-mindedness that one gets from an intense foreign experience is directly related to your creativity. I am so excited today to have my good friend, professor and citizen of the world, Chris D with me. Chris embodies the spirit of Vivacious D by adventure, living life to the fullest, and being open-minded to new experiences. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Chris, you are the son of a diplomat, the lucky son, who has lived in so many different places. Can you give us a little background about yourself and how many countries you've lived in?
Certainly. I was born in South America, in Brazil, and subsequently lived in 5 different countries. Every 2 to 5 years since my birth, I moved and lived in a different country. I speak 5 languages fluently and then a few so-so.
A few so-so?
That's correct.
So what are the 5 languages?
5 languages fluently is Portuguese, French, Spanish, Italian, and English. And then I have Dutch as well.
So Chris, how are you creative in your own life, or how has your living abroad experiences affected your daily life?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at living abroad, it's you're basically shipped to a country where you don't know anything. You don't know the culture, you don't speak the language, you don't know people, you don't know where you'll be living, and you develop a mechanism whereas you really think out of the box. You have to think out of the box. You have to be open-minded, you have to be tolerant, and professionally, of course, maintaining a global dimension in any decision that you make. You understand what the politics of other countries are, how can it impact the politic of other countries, or how can it impact your politics when you make a decision.
That's so true, because how can you understand something if you've never really been there and studied and learned from a local?
But I think it's important to note also that third culture kids are more loners, more self-reliant, because you always have had to leave friends behind. So you become more self-reliant, more of a loner, but it has a lot of advantages as well.
You know, that's such a good point that you make, and not that being a loner is a bad thing. I almost think that creative people are often more loners because you spend more time with yourself and in your own mind. So maybe that's one of the reasons that living abroad enhances your creativity.
That's
an interesting point. So Chris, what is one recommendation or main way that you think adults nowadays or people can gain these experiences?
Right, I would say if you're traveling abroad, immerse yourself in the local culture. The all-inclusive resort or the McDonald's if you go dining, or Burger King, not that there's anything wrong with those establishments. However, this is not a local cuisine. Experience a local cuisine. Experience the local culture. As the saying says, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Certainly that applies
So
there.
true.
You want to learn the most about the culture, be like them and act like them.
Such a funny point, because you say when in Rome, and when I lived in Rome, I made an effort to eat at all the good restaurants, but I did venture into McDonald's one time, and I was shocked to see how different it was from American McDonald's. They actually had their own coffee counter, gelato counter, because it's Italy. They do everything better. I feel like everything very top-notch.
Absolutely. And
That was kind of cool. So,
and there's also a fact that's known about third culture kids is you're a third culture kid if you know blank, that McDonald's tastes different in every country you go to. For instance, the food is adapted to the local population. So
that is so true. It's so much fun to know. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I hope this definitely will help people to understand that living abroad is so important.
Thanks for having me.
If you haven't studied abroad yet, or you're thinking about teaching English in a foreign country, or if you're like many of us and trying to create an online business to gain financial freedom and travel the world, I encourage you to do it. Do it now. Broaden your horizons. Variety is the spice of life, and seeing how others work, play, eat, and live is crucial to your creative thinking. Stay vivacious.